My name is Sophia. I was once a very happy woman. I got married when I was 24 years old. My husband's name was Arif. At the beginning of our marriage, everything was fine. He was loving and kind. I used to wait for him every evening, made food for him, smiled when he came home tired. I tried my best to be a good wife. But slowly things started changing. Arif stopped talking to me. He became cold and distant. He stayed out late, made excuses. I felt like I was invisible in my own home. I used to ask him, "Is everything okay?" He always said, "I'm just tired." But I knew something was wrong. His phone was always locked. He smiled at messages that I didn't send. And I felt something breaking inside me, every single day. Then one morning, he left some papers on the table. Divorce papers. I stood there in shock. My hands were shaking. My heart was heavy. I asked him why. He said, "It's better for both of us." Just like that, he walked away. No fight. No goodbye. Nothing. I felt like my world ended. I cried for weeks. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Everything I believed in was gone. My marriage was over. After the divorce, I went back to my parents' house. It was painful. Everyone in the house looked at me differently. My relatives talked behind my back. Some people asked strange questions. What did you do wrong? Why didn't you keep your husband happy? I stayed quiet. But inside, I was broken. I lost all confidence. I didn't talk to anyone for days. I stopped smiling. I stopped looking in the mirror. I didn't feel beautiful anymore. My life felt dark and cold. I stayed in my room, watching the same four walls. Time passed, but I didn't feel alive. I was just breathing. I used to sit near the window and watch people walking on the street. Kids playing, couples laughing, old people talking. And I used to think, will I ever be happy again? One day, I went to the nearby park. I just wanted some fresh air. I sat under a big tree and closed my eyes. I felt the wind touch my face. It reminded me of the old days when life was normal. Then I heard a voice. A young man stood near me and asked politely, "Is this seat free?" I said yes. He smiled and sat down beside me. That was the first time I met Zion. Zion was only 22 years old. I was 33. He was young, fresh, and full of life. I was older, tired, and heartbroken. But that day we started talking. Just simple things. He told me he liked to sit in the park and read books. I told him I used to come here before my marriage. Our talk was short, but something about his voice felt peaceful. We started meeting often. Not by planning, just by chance. And slowly, we got comfortable with each other. He made me smile. His jokes were silly, but they made me laugh. I hadn't laughed in a long time. I started waiting for him, every day. I would wear my favorite scarf, comb my hair properly, and go sit under the same tree. He never asked about my past. He just talked to me like I was a normal person. Not a divorced woman. Not someone broken. He made me feel normal again. And that feeling was very special to me. One day, I told him everything. I told him about my marriage and my divorce. I was scared he would judge me, but he just listened. And then he said, "You didn't do anything wrong. You just loved the wrong person." After that day, I started feeling something for Zion. I knew it was wrong. I told myself, he's too young. This will never work. I tried to stop going to the park. I ignored his texts. I didn't want to hurt him or myself. But every time I stayed away, I missed him more. My heart wanted to see him. My eyes searched for him. It became hard to stay away. One rainy evening, I heard a knock at the door. I opened it, and there he was, wet from the rain, holding a book, the one I once told him was my favorite. He looked into my eyes and said, "Why are you running away from me, Sophia?" I had no answer. My eyes filled with tears. He stepped forward and hugged me. It felt so warm, so real. He didn't care about my age. He didn't care about my past. He cared about me, the way I was now. That day, I accepted my feelings. I didn't care about society anymore. I just wanted to feel alive again. And Zion made me feel alive. After that rainy night, everything changed between me and Zion. We started meeting more. We would go for tea in small cafes, sit in the car and talk for hours, or just walk quietly in the park. He would make me laugh, tell me stories, and listen when I talked. I felt like a young girl again, happy, nervous, excited. But we didn't tell anyone. It was our little secret. I knew the world would never accept it. A woman 10 years older than the boy she loves? A divorced woman? People would laugh, insult me, call me names. I wasn't ready for that. So we kept it hidden. He respected that. He never forced me. He always said, "We'll tell them when you're ready." At home, I started smiling again. My mother asked why. I lied. I said I just like going out for fresh air. But deep inside, I knew. I was falling in love. Fully, deeply. I started wearing lipstick again. I even started writing in my old diary. My life had color once more because of Zion. One evening, while we were sitting in his car, he held my hand and said, "I don't want to hide forever. I want to marry you, Sophia." I looked at him, shocked. "Do you know what you're saying?" I asked. He smiled and nodded. I've never been more sure. I thought he was joking. But he wasn't. Zion was serious. He wanted to marry me. A young boy wanted to give his whole life to a woman like me, older, divorced, full of fears. I told him, "Your family will never accept this. My family will be ashamed. The world will never stop talking." He replied softly, "I don't care about the world. I only care about you." That sentence touched my soul. A few days later, he came to my house, wearing a white shirt, nervous but confident. He asked my father for my hand. My father looked at me shocked, then looked at Zion. "Are you out of your mind?" he said. My mother started crying. My brothers got angry. "You're a child," they shouted at him. "She's a divorcee. Shame on both of you." Zion stood strong. "I know what I'm doing," he said. "I love her. She is not your shame. She is my pride." That moment, I realized how brave he was. But things got worse. My family told me to stop seeing him. Neighbors started talking. People stared at me in the street. But Zion never left my side. He held my hand through every insult, every threat, every tear. He said, "This world is temporary, but love, it's forever." We left everything behind. I packed my clothes, left a note for my parents, and went with Zion. We rented a small flat in a quiet area of the city. It wasn't big, but it felt like home. We had no fancy furniture, no expensive things, just peace and each other. And that was enough. We got married in a simple ceremony. Just us, two friends as witnesses, and a small cake. No family, no music, but lots of love. I wore a light pink dress. He wore the same white shirt he wore when he proposed. We smiled, cried, and held hands the whole time. In the mornings, I made breakfast. He read the newspaper. In the evenings, we went for walks. On weekends, we watched old movies and laughed like children. I started baking at home and selling cakes online. He began teaching English at a private school. Life was simple and full of love. For the first time in my life, I felt safe. Not because someone protected me, but because someone accepted me fully. My age didn't matter. My past didn't matter. To him, I was just Sophia. And that was enough. 2 years passed. We were happy. Truly happy. But life is not always fair. One morning, Zion said he felt tired. He thought it was just stress. We went to the doctor, did some tests. A few days later, the results came. Blood cancer. Final stage. I froze. My heart stopped. I sat beside him in the hospital every day. I fed him soup, kissed his hands, read books to him. His body got weaker, but his smile never left. One night, he held my hand and said, "Don't cry when I leave. Smile because I came into your life." That night, he closed his eyes and never opened them again. I sat there, holding his hand for hours. I didn't scream. I didn't move. My heart was silent, but full of love. Today, I live alone. I still wear the ring he gave me. I run my little bakery. Every morning, I look at the sky and whisper, "Good morning, Zion." And when the wind touches my face, I know it's him. The world didn't understand our love, but I did. He gave me a second chance. He made me feel alive. And for that, I will always love him.